Hi everyone, massive well done for getting through paper 2. With papers 1 and 2 being back to back, this is a big deal to get to this point. You've done so well, so much hard work will have paid off at this stage. But don't think that the economics journey is over. We have a big bang to finish with, paper 3. You know, evidence from the last few years is that paper 3 is often the highest scoring paper of the two. It's a massive opportunity for you all, regardless of how paper 1 and paper 2 have gone. Hopefully great, in which case this is a chance to solidify that top grade. But even if they haven't quite gone to plan, you're feeling a bit low, paper 3 is a huge opportunity for you to rescue your grade, to still get a very top grade at the end. So it's important that we're still sharp, we're still focusing for this paper, we're still revising hard for it. And that's exactly what this video is going to do for you, giving you key tips, key advice, how to use this final time really well, but also a detailed breakdown of the paper in minute detail, time management, the exact structure of the paper, techniques that you need to use, gold dust coming your way. You want to be taking it all in, watching all the way to the end. Let's start with key advice. Pay absolutely no attention to predictions. If you're hearing predictions, completely disregard them. It's not worth getting your mind wrapped up with predictions because, simply put, nobody knows what's going to be coming up in paper 3. If you look at the last few years, totally random topic areas, totally random context, nobody could have predicted those. It's not worth getting your mind sucked into all of this nonsense, to be honest with you. And nothing to worry about either, because the content that's going to be assessed in paper 3 is the same content you revised for paper 1, the same content you revised for paper 2. The same micro macro content that's in your syllabus is all that can be assessed. Nothing outside of that. So you don't need to worry in that sense. You're keeping your content ticking over from micro macro. It's that's going to come up in paper 3. But also now all the essay questions that will feature will be tied to extracts, and the extracts will be so much better than they were in paper 1 and paper 2. Literally everything you need to write these essays in paper 3 will be in the extracts. So you have that to help you as well. So nothing to worry about in terms of predictions. Don't get wrapped up in that. It's the pointless exercise. It's a pointless waste of your time. Just, I would say, keep your content ticking over and you'll be good. Having said that, it is worth weighing up major topic areas that haven't featured predominantly in paper 1 and paper 2. They're much more likely to be big essay questions in paper 3. In terms of the remaining time left before paper 3, I recommend two things. It's content mastery. You want your content to be absolutely razor sharp. The same notes you made for paper 1, the same notes you made for paper 2, go back over those and make sure, yes, your micro macro content is really good still. But also it's knowing your paper inside out, and it's preparing for the unique elements of paper 3 that are different to papers 1 and 2. And that's what this breakdown coming is going to do for you. It's gold dust coming your way. Take everything down. Know that what's coming was pre-recorded, so I look a bit different in what's coming, but still gold dust nonetheless. Enjoy it and really focus on the advice coming your way. Paper 3 is going to be broken into two sections, section A and section B. Both sections are going to have extracts at the start and then a load of questions that follow. The structure of the questions will be exactly the same in section A and section B. You're going to have a 5, 8 and a 12 marker in both sections, exactly the same style as paper 1 and paper 2. And then in both sections, you'll have two 25 markers. You pick one out of the two. So in section A, you'll have two 25 markers there, pick one out of the two. And in section B, you'll have two 25 markers, pick one out of the two. All questions in both sections, A and B, will be linked to the extracts. That's going to be the structure for section A, section B. The order of the questions will follow the order of the extracts. So just like my recommendation in paper 1 and paper 2, I recommend that you read the extracts when you need them to answer your questions. So as the questions come, you'll naturally be going through the extracts. So don't allocate time separate to answering questions just to read through all the extracts. Simply read through them as you need them. In that regard, your reading time for the extracts is within the time of you answering the question, like it was in paper 1 and paper 2. The 5, 8 and the 12 marker in section A and section B will be exactly the same style as the 5, 8 and the 12 you've already done in paper 1 and paper 2, literally the same. So the same techniques, the same way to use the extracts. Hopefully the extracts can drive the points that you need. You can then add the economic theory to that in your answer. You should be absolutely fine. Again, it should be a mark a minute for these questions. So 5 minutes for the 5, 8 minutes for the 8, 12 minutes for the 12. Just bear in mind in paper 3, you don't need micro and macro in these questions, especially for the 8 and the 12, they're proper essays. You don't need to worry about having micro and macro elements. So if you see the 8 marker as being more of a micro question, just answer it in a micro way with micro ideas, micro points. If you see the 12 marker, let's say, as a more macro question, just answer it macro. You don't need to mix and match in those essays. You just answer however you need to answer those questions. And then you finish each section with a 25 marker. You choose the best 25 marker from the 2 options you have in each section. Again, you're looking at 35 minutes for this 25. If you're really good with time management, 5 minutes for the 5, 8 minutes for the 8, 12 minutes for the 12, that's 25 minutes. That gives you 35 minutes then for your 25 marker. You want to have that. That will be a good amount of time to write a great 25 marker. This 25 marker, it's similar to paper 1 and paper 2, but with 2 unique elements. The first major unique element is now you have extracts to guide you. That's going to be so helpful. Again, ideally, if the extracts are really good, the extracts can drive what you need to talk about in those essays. That's very unique. Second unique element, it's not just going to be micro, it's not just going to be macro, these 25 markers. They're going to be micro and macro questions. That's very unique. You've got to make sure you're planning accordingly. Now, first piece of advice to make sure that you do well on these 25 markers is in the exam itself, hunt down exactly what the question is asking you micro and macro of. So is it micro and macro effects that you need to be writing? Is it micro and macro causes, or micro and macro influences, or micro and macro factors, or micro and macro reasons? What is it you need to be writing micro and macro of? Hunt that down and highlight it so that you're not going off tangent. If it's asking you for micro and macro causes, you're not then writing effects, which would be irrelevant for that essay. So once you hunt down what exactly the micro and macro is of, you can then answer accordingly. So if you know it's effects, micro effects, you might talk about changes in price, changes in quantity, changes in producer revenue, changes in surpluses, market failure kind of issues, or whatever it is that you know is a micro effect, you go into that. If it's a macro effect, you know you should be talking about the macro objectives, changes to growth, unemployment, inflation. Maybe it's changes to the current account position or government finances or inequalities, right? You know exactly then what you need to be talking about. But if it's something different, factors, reasons, causes, then you know you've got to be talking about other things. So that's key tip number 1. And second of all, you need to be revising appropriately to smash this 25 marker, preparing well so you can write this 25 marker really well. Now to do that, what you need to be doing is writing down all the topic areas that could be micro and macro topic areas. Write them all down. To help you, I have a video about all the topic areas that could be micro or macro. Go and check that out. And then for all those topic areas, you should be listing down your micro effects and then your macro effects or your micro causes, macro causes, etc., depending on what kind of micro and macro question that could be. It's all been guided nicely for you in that video. Go check it out and write down all those topic areas and then list your micro and macro effects or causes or factors or whatever it could be. That is unbelievably good revision advice because then your brain is going to be ticking. You're going to be comfortable talking about micro and macro. Even if you think a topic area is more micro, your brain's going to be ticking over with macro ideas. If you think a certain topic area is more macro, your brain's going to be ticking over with micro ideas. You want that to be natural so that whatever the question is on the exam day itself, you're able to do the same kind of technique, bring in micro and macro ideas very, very simply. In terms of the structure of that 25 marker, exactly the same structure that you followed when writing your 25 markers in paper 1 and paper 2. Absolutely. The only slight difference that I would say is that when you're writing your analysis paragraphs, make it explicit what you're trying to do. So maybe you can start by saying one micro effect is, or one macro effect is. Be explicit like that, and then go off and continue your writing as you're used to doing. Evaluation of these micro macro effects is just like normal. So if you're writing a micro effect, you don't need to evaluate with macro or something. Evaluate as normal in the usual way. It's your analysis paragraphs. They're going to be very distinctly either micro or macro. That's what you're looking to do. So keep it simple, same structure. Just make sure in your revision, you're writing micro, macro effects or whatever it is that's relevant for all the topic areas you know could be micro and macro topic areas in paper 3. And that, guys, is all the advice that you need, advice so that you can prepare perfectly for paper 3. Bear in mind all the unique paper 3 exam technique videos that are already on the channel. Go and watch those, as well as all of the incredible videos to help you with that 25 marker that I've already talked about. I've also gone through loads of different micro macro effects for a variety of micro macro topic areas. You have to check those out. There's going to be more coming from me in that regard as well. Check those videos out when they're released, and just make sure you're preparing hard. No complacency for paper 3, working hard. We want to end with a bang and smash that final exam so you're feeling great when results day comes, all right? Work hard, stay with me on social media, use everything that I'm giving you, use all the guidance, and do great for paper 3. I know you will. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you in future videos.